Will she sing? House Judiciary Committee subpoenas Biden's ex-disinformation chief, Nina Jankowicz. Um, I'm not sure because if you're on the left, if you have a D next to your name, it's okay to lie under oath. So even though she would be subpoenaed and she have to answer all these questions, I don't think she'll do so truthfully because she can lie under oath and get away with it. I mean, look at Fauci, look at all the former heads of FBI and the CIA coming before uh, Congress and coming before committees and lying. So I wouldn't put anything past her. But before we get started, go ahead and hit the like button, share this out so we get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my merch store where I have I Will Not Comply t-shirts as well. So check those out. All right, let's talk about this news. Well, will she sing? On Monday, the House Judiciary Committee subpoenaed Nina Jankowicz, the former head of the Biden's regime's ill-fated disinformation governance board, as part of its ongoing investigation into how the authoritarian left has weaponized the various agencies of the federal government to criminalize dissenting speech and rule half of the electorate outside the bounds of acceptable discourse. I mean, the creation of this is just in your face censorship. Um, the question, will she sing, is not in the case of an old fashioned way to ask Jankowicz, will she talk and spill the beans on this authoritarian regime? Since Jankowicz has been known to break into song over the pleasures of silence and dissonance, it's a legitimate, literal question. If y'all haven't seen it, I suggest y'all look it up. It's on all over Twitter when she was singing about censoring people. It was just, it's just crazy. Um, Jankowicz, unfortunately, is unlikely to give us another rousing musical tribute to censorship and authoritarianism, or even to appear at all. Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan wrote to Jankowicz admonishing her for her refusal to cooperate with the committee. Quote, we have repeatedly sought information from you, Jordan wrote, quote, concerning your official action and duties as a DHS employee and former executive director of the board, including how the board intended to define disinformation, how it planned to collect information and from what sources, how it anticipated countering disinformation, and how it proposed to protect First Amendment rights. To date, however, you have declined to comply voluntarily with our request for a transcribed interview. Again, if you have a D next to your name, if you are a leftist, you don't have to comply with any of that stuff, and you get away with it. This is odd behavior from the former speech honcho, as she seems anxious to clear her name and refute all the nasty and allegedly false allegations that patriots have made about her sinister board. Jankowicz has, after all, launched a crowdfunding effort to finance a lawsuit against Fox News, quote, for their malicious, reckless lies against me. Yeah, right. Among these alleged lies, Jankowicz asserts is the claim that, quote, the board was an Orwellian ministry of truth, when actually Jankowicz insists it, quote, had nothing to do with arbitrating or restricting speech. Yeah, that's just a lie. That coincides with the claim of DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who maintained that the board would, quote, not infringe on free speech, civil rights, or civil liberties because it would have been focused upon, quote, disinformation efforts arising outside the country, not domestically. Yeah, just like what the FBI did with Twitter. It's all lies. Belying that claim, however, is the fact that whistleblower documents released last year show that Mayorkas and Jankowicz lied to the American people about the board's purpose and scope. Despite repeated denials, it was designed from the beginning to monitor and restrict the free speech of American citizens. On May 1st, 2022, CNN's Dana Bash asked Mayorkas, quote, will American citizens be monitored? Mayorkas' answer was as unequivocal as it was reassuring. Quote, no, The board does not have any operational authority or capability. What it will do is gather together best practices in addressing the threat of disinformation from foreign state adversaries, from the cartels, and disseminate those best practices to the operators that have been executing and addressing this threat for years. Okay, great. Just like FBI was doing with Twitter. This is crap. Yeah, just weeks after this, Jankowicz tweeted that, quote, the spread and effects of disinformation on American society have only worsened and become entrenched in domestic politics, and added, quote, this is the type of work I have hoped to do at DHS and the type of work the USG sorely needs to invest in. This is the type of work that I have built my career on, not a few contactless tweets, and this is the type of work I will continue in the public sphere. When she was reminded of the denials that the board would get involved in domestic politics, Jankowicz insisted that all she was talking about was, quote, raising awareness of the falsities coming out of the Kremlin. And there was, quote, no combating domestic sources anywhere in the mix, more lies. However, according to the office of Senator Josh Hawley, quote, the whistleblower document showed that the Disinformation Governance Board was originally conceived in part to monitor domestic speech regarding conspiracy theories about the validity and security of elections and disinformation related to origins and effects of COVID-19 vaccines or the efficacy of masks. Even worse, quote, DHS planned for a partnership with Twitter to suppress disfavored content and plan a meeting with Twitter executives exploring the concept. And we have seen it in the Twitter files how far that initiative got. I mean, she's just lying. We got the receipts. The ferociously partisan bias Jankowicz has also, according to the Daily Caller, quote, claimed that opponents of critical race theory are engaging in disinformation for profit and that Hunter Biden's laptop was a Republican campaign product. We all know how that piece of so-called disinformation turned out. If Jankowicz really wants to prevail in her lawsuit against Fox and prove that the nation and the world, prove to the nation and the world that she wasn't set to become the Biden regime chief censor, she should testify fully and honestly to Jordan's committee about what the Disinformation Governance Board was supposed to be all about and why. But that almost certainly won't happen because, again, when you're on the left, you don't have to answer to subpoenas. You don't have to answer questions. You're just going about your day and ignore it and pretend like it never happened. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out democrepublics.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.